All right, I hope you've got your packet in front of you, ready to highlight some stuff. Let's jump in. This will be packet one, kind of our background information, and then we'll jump into packet two, which is that kind of how-to section. So whole food, plant-based eating for health really is the only evidence-based eating plan that's been shown to prevent and treat and reverse chronic conditions. So our table of contents, you can kind of flip through there and see what we're going to be covering. This section is just your introduction to a whole food plant-based diet. I'll let you kind of read through here, but certainly making a note of, as you move into this way of eating, these bulleted lists are really things you can begin to expect. I see these happen all of the time with the people that I see, discontinuing medications and having reversal of symptoms. It's quite striking what our food can do for our body. We live in this very toxic food environment. We have all of this information coming at us all the time. So I'll be teaching you how to vet what is real and what's kind of a fad. The great thing about plant-based eating is there's no calorie counting, there's no macros, there's no micros. You're going to be eating volumes of food that are low in calories, so you're going to feel fuller, longer, with more nutrient density. And then a little bit here about how to get started. Hopefully you had an opportunity to watch that first YouTube video that I posted, and it really gives a step-by-step on how the program is laid out, but there's a little tidbit right there. Michael Pollan said, eat real food, not too much, and mostly plants. And that's really what we're going to focus on in our time together. And kind of this is what that new food guide pyramid is going to look like for you here. And then I've just got a couple of little facts along here you can read, but I love this by C. Everett Koop. The best prescription is knowledge. And so that's what we're really going to be working on. And food truly is the cure. And that's just some dietary facts that I have there for you. Some of the illnesses that we see very prevalent with the standard American diet are all listed here, but these are those same ones that we can actually, improve those symptoms and maybe even reverse those chronic conditions with changing the way you eat. And a lot of the medical experts and associations are beginning to move to a more plant-based diet, which is great. Kaiser Permanente, the American Medical Association, the American Diabetes Association. This handout here from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine is great because that's the first question everyone will ask is, where do you get your protein? And the great news is there's protein in literally every single food you eat. You do not have to go seek out protein. In fact, as a nation, we get more protein than we need. So as long as you're getting adequate amount of calories, you're getting adequate amounts of protein, which you'll see as we go along. But read through here. I think it's really important for you to understand that. And you can see, Pai, he had spinach in his mussels, not chicken breast, right? So he was getting plenty of protein too. And then we'll look here about dairy, really just one of the most inflammatory things that you can put in your mouth. So I'll let you read through here about dairy. Everyone thinks we need it for bone health, but it is not a necessity for bone health. We get more calcium from our greens than we do really from milk. There is also several significant links with different types of sex cancers like ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. So you can kind of read through here and get the background on diet, on milk. Same thing with eggs. They're just kind of cholesterol bullets. There's no phytochemicals, there's no antioxidants, there's no fiber. There's really nothing in them that we need. They do have a link to increased risks of heart disease, and certainly there's a significant increased risk of diabetes the more eggs you eat. And they're just not something that we need. So I'll show you how to substitute those in various ways throughout your diet. And then health concerns with fish. Really, we use our oceans like toilets, unfortunately, and so they're just loaded with toxins. And even when we try to eat those low toxin fish, we are still putting ourselves at risk because Oceana actually published a study that showed that 30% of the fish in the grocery stores are actually mislabeled. So just those mercury levels, those microplastics, they're just not a health food anymore. Later on down the road, if you decide you want fish to be one of the animal products that you eat a couple of times a week, eat it because that's what you want, not because you think it's a health food. But fiber is our star nutrient. It is really what is going to run our diet, and it's the main thing we want to be in each one of the foods we put in our mouth, because that's what gives us satiety. That's what gives us anti-inflammatory properties. So everything we eat, we want to make sure it has some fiber in it. And there are different kinds of fiber: insoluble fiber, soluble fiber, and this prebiotic soluble fiber. You don't have to necessarily know which is which. Just know there are different types of fiber, and they do different things in the gut. Mostly, I mean, feed the gut bacteria is the main thing. But other benefits of a high fiber diet, bowel regularity, blood sugar control, weight loss, helping to maintain the structure of the colon. Just there, I can't say enough about how important fiber is for you. And this is just some of the different places we'll find fiber throughout our diet. And then important to read your labels on your whole grains, just to make sure what you're getting is a whole grain and has fiber in it. Then some just fiber facts, nuggets, and pearls here, kind of read through, but really making sure fiber is your number one focus as we go through. A little bit more there about that pre-soluble fiber, because that's really where we found the short chain fatty acids being made. And those are those anti-inflammatory components that get made when that good gut bacteria gets to munch down on that fiber. And that's our anti-inflammatory properties. And then as we increase our fiber, we are going to have some increased gas. That's normal. That's your good gut bacteria having a party because it's getting fed. It's normal to have about 10 to 20 bursts of flatus a day. That's totally normal. Like I said, just your good gut bacteria having a party. Maybe if you have a problem with fiber, just kind of slowly increasing, like maybe instead of having a full cup of beans a day, you have a couple of tablespoons of beans a day, and that's something that we'll work through as we go through the program. But it's also great for, like I said, irritable bowel syndrome and just keeping the colon in balance. Also, inflammatory bowel diseases, diverticulosis, and Crohn's. These are really the ways you're going to make a big difference in these symptoms, is by increasing fiber, which I know is probably the opposite of what you've been told in the past. And this is just a list of some high fiber foods you can look at. Not an all-inclusive list by any means, but just kind of an idea here. And then I've got a whole food plant-based resource page here for you. Some great books that I really like, some websites, Facebook pages. I love these documentaries. I'd like for you to watch the Forks Over Knives documentary before we meet in 3 weeks. It's a great background to everything that we're talking about. Okay, so we'll get ready for book 2.